ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my new video. So a few days ago, China approved the world's most expensive infrastructure project. They're going to build a dam in the Yarlung Sampo River. So the Yarlung Sampo River, this dam they're going to build is going to generate 3 times more power than the three gorges. So I'm just going to show you where the Yarlung Sampo River is. I mean, you can see there's a picture here, but what it doesn't show you is the elevation that it's going to fall. So the Yarlung Sampo River is up there in the southern parts of China in Tibet, and you can see the big bend is around here. So this is where the dam is going to be. So where the big bend is, you can see this big bend along here, and there is a big elevation of around I think it's about 2,000 feet elevation, which can generate, so it falls 2,000 meters, not feet, over a stretch of 50 kilometers. So that can produce a huge amounts of energy, 3 times as much as the Three Gorges Dam. So one of the reasons it took so long to approve is basically they had to do a lot of surveying in the area, and this dam is going to be built in an area where there's not many people, there's no infrastructure, there's no roads, and it's very difficult to get access there. The whole project is going to be costing over 1 trillion yuan, which is around $137 billion. Could be more, by the way. And this project is going to take around 10-15 years, maybe more, to complete. Like I said, it's an extremely difficult project. There's no infrastructure there. So as part of because of the big costs, they're going to build a lot of the infrastructure there. They're going to be building roads, railway links into the area, and they're going to be building command centers and moving all the material across to that area as well, because they're going to have to move across huge amounts of concrete from China into this area. So obviously they need good access, good roads, good railway links and things like that. So they will be building that first. There's already an infrastructure project going through there. It's actually the Sichuan Rail project, and they've been building a lot of the infrastructure because of that project. And they have also been building some of the infrastructure because they've been building some dams across the lower parts of the river. So the lower parts of the river are more easily accessible, and they've been building some dams on there. But this particular part where the big bend is an extremely difficult. It's also very high. It's elevated very high. So if you can imagine driving trucks with concrete up this huge elevation, so you need very good roads. If you don't have it, these trucks are not going to be able to make it. And so it's going to be a very difficult project. India is not very happy, by the way. India has been trying to block this project for years, and one of the reasons it got delayed is because India kept protesting. However, India has been very naughty indeed. India has been building dams across the Brahmaputra, and basically they have been blocking water going into Bangladesh. So India is preparing for this, and they've been building quite big dams, and they don't really care about what's happening in Bangladesh. They were just blocking it, basically, and Bangladesh is not very happy at the moment. So India cannot speak. They're basically becoming hypocrites, basically. They're asking China to stop building the dam, but India goes ahead and builds its own dam and blocks water from Bangladesh. So that's very hypocritical. So this is part of the greater project for China. I think if they can get this dam built, it's going to be an amazing achievement for China. This is probably going to be the most difficult engineering feat for China ever to have ever to have done in Chinese history. This is going to be more difficult than the Three Gorges Dam. It's going to be more difficult than the Sichuan Railway, high-speed railway to Tibet. It's going to be more difficult than the space program, you can say. This is definitely the most biggest infrastructure program China has yet to do. So this project is all part of the greater plan of China to basically have a waterway across all of China, basically. So already you can see they've done the south to north water diversion project. They've finished the east side of it, and they've finished the central part of it. And they're obviously there's still parts to go. They are kind of sending that water across to different cities or across northern China. And also, the west part of that line is yet to be built. Altogether, by the time everything finishes, the diversion project should finish by 2050. So they've still got a good 25, 30 years left. So this Yarlung Sampo River has got is part of a major project to basically have a new river across China. And this new river is basically going to be going, you can see it's called the Hongyan River. It's going to go north. The overall project is called the Red Flag River. So it's going to go north. It's going to feed the Yellow River. It's going to feed the Yangtze River as well. You can see it's going to feed the Yangtze River from two locations. It's going to feed the Yellow River. And it's also going to there's going to be a new river along the northern parts of China where there's a lot of deserts, and this is going to go all the way to Xinjiang and across the northern parts where it's very dry, humid. There's not much water sources there, and so this is all part of the greater plan. And I think this is all going to be done within the next 50 to 100 years. And the overall plan is to basically have this waterway going across China. Then the Chinese people will be able to have better agriculture, grow food across northern China. Because at the moment, the farmlands and stuff are mainly across the west of China and southern parts of China where there's a lot of water. But since the south to north diversion project, they're starting to build farmlands more around the northern parts of China. The northern parts are very dry with lots of deserts and lots of it's very humid, very hot. So these rivers will really help bring out the agricultural lands and to be able to feed its own people. They don't have to import it as much. And they're saying that once this project is complete, Xinjiang is going to be like California, basically. The climate's going to be like California. It's going to have lots of water, and China wouldn't have to worry about any water issues anymore. Because a country is only rich by its water sources. I mean, if you look at countries such as Saudi Arabia, they do not have enough water sources to feed their own people. So they're having to build a lot of freshwater creation plants, which require a lot of energy. So they basically convert seawater to drinking water. And these huge facilities create, lots of pollution as well. It takes a lot of energy. So having lots of clean water and fresh water around your country gives the country a lot of benefits. You can also grow your own agriculture. People can drink fresh water. People can be healthy. It's just great benefits. I mean, America also has lots of great lakes and great rivers as well. But a lot of our countries are not that fortunate. India is actually very fortunate. It's got lots of water. Bangladesh has also got lots of water, so they're able to. This is why Bangladesh is one of the biggest agricultural countries in the world because of its water sources. But yeah, a lot of countries in the Middle East are not that fortunate, and China will need this water because with the climate change and stuff, the Earth is getting warmer and warmer. And whether you believe climate change is a hoax or not, I'm not going to discuss it here. But you know, some years it gets really hot, some years it gets very cold, which I completely agree. But I think China is just planning just in case it gets very hot, because there was a few years in China where some of the rivers got completely dried out. Because I remember seeing some pictures from Chongqing. One of my friends lives in Chongqing, and he was showing me pictures of the rivers in Chongqing. There's two rivers going into Chongqing, and he was showing me pictures that these rivers were completely dried out in the summer. So this is why China needs very good water sources to be able to not only feed its own people, but also to green all the forests that China's building. Because China's also doing lots of desertification or reforestification along the northern parts of China, and these trees and these vegetation needs a lot of water as well. So not only that, guys, China is also building canals also to link all of the major rivers, and also to link various different cities. And you can see a map here to show some of the canals that are under construction. The main canal that's under construction right now is called the Pinglu Canal on the south. You can see the southern part, the big red arrow on the southern parts of China. And this Pinglu Canal is going to be linking China to the rest of the Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia. And there's also canals that are planned in those countries as well. But you can see everything in red, those are canals planned. China has already built some of the longest canals going from Beijing to Shanghai to Guangzhou. They're also building other long canals as well. So there's going to be a massive network of waterways all across China, linking rivers, linking cities. And water transport across China is actually the fastest way to travel across China, because, um, or the easiest way to travel. So basically, if you travel by boat, there's no congestion. You can basically go from one end to another. If you travel by car, you have to obviously sometimes stop in traffic. And cars are very slow as well. So sometimes you have to take detours, and you might have to take some rests now and then. If you take a plane, you gotta go through all the customs, all the baggage checks and stuff. And the same with high speed rail is better, but by boat is probably the most cheapest, most efficient way and the fastest way to travel and around China. So I think they are building this massive network of canals and rivers all across China, and this is going to help the economy much more. So yeah, so things are looking good with all of these plans that China has to kind of make China an even greater country than it already is. So let me know what you guys think. What do you think of India's objections? I think India is objecting for other reasons as well, mainly geopolitical reasons. As you know, there's a part which is disputed between China and India, parts of southern Tibet, and China, basically feels that when at the time when the Tibetans were ruled by the British, they were kind of coerced into making borders with India, and and they basically drew up some borders without agreements from China or anyone else. And China obviously didn't agree to it, and and it was basically the British basically. So that part of disputed land has always been disputed between India and China. And there's a lot of Indians I spoke to. They feel that Tibet is theirs. They feel like all of Tibet is should be part of India. That's what they think. This is why there's a lot of Indians who get extremely jealous when China builds infrastructure projects in Tibet. And this is why the Dalai Lama ran off to India, basically. So India wants, Tibet because it knows, Tibet is very rich in water sources. Tibet is probably the richest part in the world when it comes to water source. It's got the highest mountains. They call it the roof of the world for no reason. It's got the highest mountains. It's got fresh water. It's untouched, and yeah, whoever controls that controls the water. Especially the clean mountain water that comes from it. So obviously, this is why India wants it, because they are very their population is very high. They, at the moment is around 1.5 billion, and they're saying because Indians breed a lot, they're saying by 2030 it's probably going to hit what 2 billion or something, and having 2 billion people in a country 1/3 of the size of China, all of these waterways, you can see if you go to India, these major rivers like a Ganges, it's just full of pollution, guys. Absolutely disgusting. I've seen images where the Ganges is full of foam and stuff like that. It's full of industrial waste. During COVID, there's like dead bodies floating around because Indians were dumping bodies in the water, and that water is very, very heavy populated. So you can imagine with 2 billion people in China, I mean, sorry, in India, you can imagine how populated that country is going to be, and water is going to be very scarce. There's not going to be enough water to feed all those people, especially all across India, because Ganges and Brahmaputra and other parts of all the major rivers are in the northern parts of India where it's heavily populated. But most of some of the people that live in the south or east and west do not have access to this waterway. So what they do, they get groundwater. Basically, they get it from the ground, and that's running out soon as well. So India needs a lot of water, especially for its growing population. It just doesn't have enough. There's just too many people living in very densely packed country, basically. So this is why they're jealous. They're extremely jealous that China's got access to all of this fresh water and mountains and things like that. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And also comment in the comment section. It really helps the algorithm, guys. Really appreciate all the help you can give. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.